ready. Ooh, stuffed down my salad just in time. All right, so where to begin? Are we live or?
Yep, no attendees yet. Oh,
no attendees yet. Oh, look, we got one. Oh, it's just Carlos.
Carlos.
Really, Carlos? Carlos, really? Are you there? I said like he's right behind me. Here we go. Oh, ready. Welcome everybody. Today's another daily lunch and learn. So we do our lunch and learns from Monday through Thursday, but since tomorrow is a US holiday, we won't have a lunch and learn tomorrow. We'll resume back on the lunch and learns on next Monday, which I believe, if I look at my calendar, is on the 29th. So on the 29th, we'll be back to the regular schedule of Monday through Thursday on the lunch and learn. So today is our last day. If you have any questions in the chat, pop them in there and I'll answer them. If I can answer it verbally, I will. If I can answer it with a project or building it, I will also do that as well. If not, this video could be me talking about my cool Thanksgiving plans, but I'll probably refrain from doing that, even though it is a temptation. All right, in the absence of questions, I'm gonna go take a suggestion from our executive assistant, Sabrina, and I'm going to create a Thanksgiving themed flow. And again, while I create this, if there's a specific question that you have over your particular use case, or if you just wanna see how I create a Thanksgiving themed flow, then yeah, by all means, you can just watch. So I'll be building in Decisions version, see about 7.8. So that's I think it's the most recent edition of Decisions to date. Let me check. I can easily find this information on our website, resources, install, and I can confirm whether this is the most recent install. And actually it is not. So we do have a newer version 7.9. So that just means I need to update my local instance so I can be on the most current. Alrighty, but I'll be demonstrating in 7.8. I don't believe there's too many differences on this version to the newer version. Carlos can shed some light on that if I am incorrect on that, but I'll be demonstrating in this version. So let's create a Thanksgiving themed flow. So Thanksgiving themed flow. Alrighty, so there's a bunch of things you can do in Decisions in regards to styling your flow in a certain way. So one of the things you can do is it's similar to like if you've ever done coding, and now Decisions isn't a coding platform, we are a load and no code platform, but similar to a coding platform, you can add things called annotations. And annotations are like comments about your flow or comments about your rule, which can help give insight to your fellow Decisions developer to know what that particular flow or rule or entire process was supposed to do if it's annotated correctly. So if you go down to our flow steps category, we have this annotations category. This annotations category can allow us to place labels. We can place images. We can place a placeholder step. You can add a rich text label onto your flow. And these are not really executable steps minus the placeholder step. This placeholder step will execute in the flow, but it doesn't do anything. It's literally just a spot to fill in the gap if there's a process that you're going to want to build and you want to annotate. Hey, this is where my assigned to manager process would be. So that's what's there for that one. All right. And now what I'm going to do is on the off screen, let's find a Thanksgiving turkey. Thanksgiving turkey. Images, Google Images is amazing. Ooh, that looks really good. So I'm going to download this image, save it. This is going to be Thanksgiving image. I'll put that in my downloads folder. And I will add that image here. Image, I can do an image from a URL. And so what I can easily do is with my Thanksgiving JPEG image, I can put that there and look at that. I have a wonderful Thanksgiving turkey that I'm sure we're all eager to eat tomorrow. We do have one question in the chat. Jeff asked, do the labels resize when you zoom? I don't know the answer to that question, but let's play around and find out. So if I have, I'm gonna make my turkey a little smaller so I can fit the label. So I'm gonna type and say, does this resize? All right, so how you can resize in the Flow Designer is you can easily click any of the plus sign buttons, the plus sign or the minus button here, or you can use the slider. And it looks like that text does resize based on the, so let's think about it this way. I don't believe the text actually resizes. As you can see, it's still 48 pixels sans serif, but because the perspective zoom changes on it, it gives the illusion that it is bigger or larger, but in reality, it is still just the font size attribute, 48 pixels. So does it resize the label? Technically it doesn't, it is fixed, but your perspective can make it smaller or larger. Oh, really? Was it broken before? Oh, that is interesting. Alrighty, and so this is my Thanksgiving flow. And this is gonna be all for Sabrina. Since this was her suggestion, she'll get all the credit. So, all right. So this is my annotation. I can easily denote that, hey, this is a particular flow designed to, be in a Thanksgiving in the spirit of the holiday season. And so now what I can do is I can start continually designing this flow. So in the specific parts of decisions and what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use a series of steps called the string builder steps. In decisions, we can dynamically create text and then place that text on things like forms or rich text display. We can write HTML dynamically. We can do a lot of really cool things in that regard. And that's what I'm going to show. So to make this easy, I'm going to create a form. And this is going to be create new Thanksgiving themed form. I'm going to click create. And then what I'll do is let's make the colors of that turkey that we saw earlier. So it's probably a dark brown. So let me go ahead and change my entire form to dark brown. So let's see, what's a cool, there we go, we'll use Google. Thanksgiving turkey brown HTML color code. So let's see if we get this. There we go, skin color, I like that. Awesome, perfect. So this color we're going to use is called the liver. So we're going to use this color. And when I go back into decisions, we're going to go to the advanced. And I'm going to place this hex code here so I can get the brown theme that we want. Looks great. Jeff asked another question. Did you add a multi-line capability to labels yet? So I don't believe so. So if I add a label, let's say we just say, I'm going to just type in random, make it really long. So I believe so if this is what you're talking about, I know by default, if your label goes beyond the row, then decisions will automatically add a new line for that if the cell you put it in is not long enough for the entire text. I do know if you do want to just pass in like multi-line text, and you want to pass in the way, have a text box where it wraps, then you'll want to use the text box multi-line form control step, because that's what allows users to have that type of multi-line capability. So this may be the feature you're talking about, Jeff, or it may not be. But
I was still on the flow annotation labels.
Oh, flow annotation labels. Oh, thanks for the clarification. I deleted my form, but we can find that out really easily. So let me make this. So I'm gonna make this really long. Let's see if it does. I don't think it does. Maybe if I shift enter. Nope. Let's try alt enter. Alt enter. Let's see. Will this go on a new line? Nope. So I don't think this multi-lines.
Okay.
I believe if we want to, there's another one called the rich text label. And then this one is what we'd use if we want to have more of that like formatting. So I can do rich text. I can say, let's say it's, 1, this is, 2, or whatever the case may be. I could just use bullet points and illustrate it that way, but that will give you the multi-line aspect of your text.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the one that doesn't zoom.
Yeah. I believe this is the one that you'll be looking for if you want that.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry for the diversion.
Oh no, you're great. Great question. Alrighty, so let me close, save, and go back in. All right, let me go back and re-add my brown for my Thanksgiving themed. So color, background color, we're going to advanced. I'm going to copy the hex code. Hopefully it's still there. Yes, it is. Pick. And I'll copy the hex code here. Perfect. All right, and I'm gonna add a button, and then I'm just gonna add a multi-line text. So when I use the string builder steps to create text, I can place that there in this text box here. So I'll say this is my text. And let's make this bigger. Let's make it over this entire thing. Alrighty, so now I have this form, and now what I'm going to use some create string builder steps to actually manipulate and design text the way that I want it to. All those steps, if you're looking for them, they're all going to be found in data, and they're all going to be found in text. I believe that is the correct area. String builder, string list contains. Nope, it's not here. It's in another place. Let's go data. Oh, it is in here. I always get this confused. So it is in text, but it's a whole category called string builder. So you expand this, you'll get access to all the different types of string builder steps and decisions. All right. So what should we make? So I'm going to, the first parts of the first steps that you're going to run drag over is the create string builder and the close string builder. The create string builder is what gives you the string builder data. This is like the piece of data that you're going to manipulate and write text to, add a new line, or add HTML tags to. So this one needs to be used because in order to use a series of other steps that you may use with it, all those steps take in that string builder data. So you will need to use the string builder step to give you that data. All right, so now let's just append some text. So I'm going to create this, and I'm going to drag the append text area. Select from flow, select the string builder output, and then my text that I'm going to add is, this is my example text, or no, let's not do that. In the spirit of the holiday, Happy Thanksgiving. There you go. And then I'm going to attach this to here. Well, before I attach it to here, the thing we're going to want to do next is the close string builder step. And you may be asking, what is this used for? How I've heard it described, and if you need further clarification on this, I can research it more. But what the close string builder step does is it closes that data from where it's being kind of temporarily stored. When you use the create string builder step, it outputs this data, and then it reserve some memory on the decision server for that string to manipulate. So when you're done with that string manipulation, you don't want to leave just that data just in memory when we're not using it. We're done manipulating it and changing it. You'll want to use the close string builder step because it removes it being reserved on memory and just will allow it to close, and so you can use your resources effectively on your server. So that's how it's been told to me. If you need clarification on that, I'd be more happy to research it. But that's typically the paradigm that we see. You create the string builder, you append the text, and then you close the string builder when you're done. Alrighty, I'm gonna move this down. The next thing I'm going to do is, now notice that when I attach this here, and I'm gonna select from flow and select my text. I just have the string builder data output, and I just have these two fields of assume HTML and temp file name. So I can pass this in my flow. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see my holiday flow. I'm going to move my end step closer. So when I pass this in here, let me make sure I select the string builder output. So when I pass this in my form, you would think that I would have text appear here, but I do not. It is just empty text. And see, it's null, even though I can confirm that I mapped data into it from this perspective here, right? Create string builder output, temp file name. So in order to actually display the text from a string builder, what I need to do is I actually need to change this data format, this create string builder data into the text that I've written to it. How do I do that? Well, there are two steps you can use. The two steps are the to HTML text if you're manipulating with HTML and trying to display stuff on your HTML. And then the second one is the to text. So if you're just using non-HTML text and you're just kind of manipulating just basic plain text, you can use that one. There's also a third one called to text without line breaks. So if you want all your text to not be on different lines and you want them to be on one long sequential line, you can use that to remove all the line breaks within your process. In the example that I'm doing, I'm just going to use the to text and then kind of change my output a little bit. So with the to text, it just takes in one piece of data, the string builder data. It takes the text that's written on that temp file and then converts that into the actual string that we want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select from flow. I'm going to take the create string builder step, output data, and then on my form, I'm going to change this input to not reference the temp file name, and I'm going to reference the to text output, which is the output from the to text step. To text output there. And then now when I debug this, I should see my text in my multi-line text box that says Happy Thanksgiving. Start. And there we go. And there you have it. Happy Thanksgiving. So I can see that my text got converted appropriately and did get displayed there. Let's say I want to make the text a little bit more. I want to add more than just a Happy Thanksgiving. Let's say I want to append a new line and I want to add some more text. So what I can do there is I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit. And I'm going to say, I believe I always get these two steps mixed up. I believe it's append blank lines. That means it allows you to it's almost the equivalent of a user in Notepad or in some type of text editor pressing enter on the keyboard so that it line breaks the text. So I'm pretty sure it's this one. It might be another step if it's not. But here we can say how many lines we want. I'm going to set a constant to 2. You can make this dynamic or you can make this constant like I'm doing here. And then what I'm going to do is after I write this text, Happy Thanksgiving, I'm going to append some more text. But this time, instead of Happy Thanksgiving, I'm going to just make it simple, copy and paste this text here, drag it to this side. move it here. And instead of Happy Thanksgiving, I'm going to say, I hope everyone eats a lot of turkey. Smiley face. All right. So now how this flow should work is I should have text that says Happy Thanksgiving. I should have 2 blank lines that should be a line count of 2. And then I should be able to see text append on that text box multi-line where it says, I hope everyone eats a lot of turkey with a smiley face. So when I debug this, you're going to see that, hey, it happened just exactly like that. Happy Thanksgiving. There is a text break in between. And then it says, I hope everyone eats a lot of turkey. And there's the 2-line break. So it breaks here, and then this is the second one, and then it writes the line on the second line as intended and as expected. So that's that. Now, so that's a really cool step that we can use. All right. Any other questions over this or any other part of decisions? All right. While you guys are thinking of questions, I'm going to take this a step further. So this is where I showed you guys how to use the create string builder step to append just plain text. What about HTML? Let's say you have an HTML wizard at your job, or ooh, before we do that, I just saw a append image. I want to see what that looks like. Alt name. Okay, looks like this is for HTML. Sweet, I can use that for HTML. Okay, so what happens if you have an HTML wizard at your job and they want to mess around with HTML in regards to the string builder? Well, you can easily do that. So for me to mess around with HTML and show you what that output looks like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a specific control called, I think it's HTML display. HTML display, perfect. And I will place this here. The HTML display form control is a cool form control because you can have it a user click and be navigated to a different part of decisions or a different website. You can give it a URL, or if you want to use it for something different, let's say you want to pass in some data that you want someone to run when they click the open tag on it. Or you can have it just display an inline, which just means that instead of having a link to open it, it will automatically embed it onto the control. So I'm going to say this is HTML data. We'll type it there. The dialog display window would be 800 by 600. So we'll just leave it at that. It probably will be a little big for this control, but we'll have scroll bars to be able to see from left and right. Alrighty, so how would I do this? So to use HTML, so I'm actually going to remove this. Remove this. We have a whole different slew of steps that we can use for the HTML ones. Again, it will be in data, it will be in text, and we'll have the string builder steps up top here. And what I can do is I can append data with tags. So let's say I want to append an HTML. Let's just do HTML with tag. Append HTML with tag. So let's say I want to write some HTML. That's not what I'm looking for. There is one specific that's really good. HTML text to add HTML tag that appends the tag. I believe it's HTML with tags. This one. This one allows you to append a new line, but I like this one because it allows you to pick the tag that you want, but then you can also add the text that you want to put in between those tags. So in this case, I'm going to create the string builder output data. Let's say for this one, I'm going to, let's just add a table. Let's make it simple. Let's just make it an H1 header, something simple. H1, so that's the beginning tag. And then I'm going to add my end tag. each one. And then the text I'm going to add is Happy Thanksgiving. So that's what's going to be. So what's going to happen is it's going to write this, and then it's going to place the Thanksgiving in between this HTML tag. And then when I display it on the form, it will display it in that HTML formatting because I use that rich text control. So let's go ahead and do that. But now, since I'm using HTML, I'm going to use the toHTML text step here. I'm going to pass in that string builder data. And then I'm going to select from flow and pass in that toHTML output data. So now when I debug this, I should see it in an H1 tag. And I do. Happy Thanksgiving in an H1 tag. So that's a really cool thing that we can do. Let's see, what else? I can also set a list of, have it do an order list or a bullet list. Let's go ahead and do that. So to set up the order list, let's say I'm going to create another subflow. I'm going to run flow here. I'm going to say this is create Thanksgiving meal list, or I should say menu list, right? Menu list. All right, and what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to pass in that string builder data. I'm going to pass in two things. So I'm going to say this is the numbered list or list of items, and it's going to be a list of text. And then we're going to pass in the string builder data, which is going to be of type string builder data right there. And then I'll hit save. And then we'll say title too. We'll pass in a title. All right, so now what do we need to do? So in this one, what's going to happen is I want to take in the list of items and for each through them. Before I do that, I also do want to create a data text string builder, and I want to append HTML line with tags. I'm going to pass in that string builder data from the input. The beginning tag is going to be, we'll do just an H3 tag for this one. And an ending H3 tag. And this one's going to be getting it from a variable. So we're going to get the title. All right, so that's how it's going to work. So we're going to create the title. And then what we're going to do is we're going to for each through the list of items, so the menu items, and then we're going to put them in a bullet point list. So how we do that is we're just going to append another line with tags. We're going to go to the next path, put this here, and we are going to append HTML tags. I'll put this here. And this is going to be the string builder data, and then I'll put a constant. And we're actually going to use the ordered list tag or unordered list. So UL for that. And then what I'm going to do is before the flow ends, I'm actually going to add this to the end of it so that we can get the unordered list closing tag. And I'll put this here, And now for this one's going to be the tricky one. Or not really that tricky. It's more of we're going to be using the line item tags for HTML to actually propagate those list items. Because the goal here is I'm going to pass in like dessert as a title, and then I'm going to pass a list of dessert items like chocolate chip cookies, cheesecake, and all the stuff. And then we're going to display that onto the form at the end of the process. Alrighty. So I'm going to select from flow the string builder because we got to update this. The beginning tag is just going to be the brackets of li, the ending tag of \li. And then the text to add, I'm going to select from flow and select the item of the string because the for each loop is iterating through the list of items. And I want to put them in an ordered list. And then for the end of the entire list, I want to close it off in an unordered list tag. So it's just going to be a bullet point, not a number. Alrighty. So now I have created this dynamic flow that I can use. So we're going to say append line with tag. So happy Thanksgiving. And then I'm going to say, let me append. Yeah, let me append, or I'm going to change it. I'm going to say this is the Thanksgiving menu. And after I do the Thanksgiving menu, I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this flow about 3 times. And this is going to be the title is going to be appetizers. Appetizers. If that's how you spell it. I don't think I spelled it correctly. I did not. Appetizer. It's with an E, right? You guys all correct me with the E. There we go. I like this menu. Thanks, Carlos. So what we're going to have for the appetizers, let's say we're going to do, let's say for the appetizers, I'm going to grab some spam. We're going to make this a constant. So spam is an appetizer. We have, let's say we can have a spinach dip. Spinach dip, if I can spell. And then let's say tomatoes is going to be our other one. All right, so now I have 3. I'm going to select from flow. Oops. The reason why I can't select from flow and select the string builder step is because my process is not connected. So I'm going to move this to the left right here. And I'm going to pass this here. So I got my appetizers. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to pass this in here. And this one's going to be create appetizers. Appetizers. This one's going to be create main course menu. And then we're going to have the fun one, create dessert menu. Create dessert menu. And then we'll close that. Appetizers, we got those. Select from flow, string builder output. For the main course, let's see, what did Carlos say? We have, well, we got to add the turkey because that's a main course. Turkey. Let's see, ham's a main course. Green beans is a main course. Actually, let's put all of them, mac and cheese, green beans, potatoes. Put that all in here. Alrighty, so that is our menu for our main course. And so let me add the string builder here, string builder data. And let me add the title, which will be main course. And so I'll get some audience participation. What should we have for the dessert menu? That's gonna be the fun one. What kind of desserts do you have? Feel free to come off mute if you want to shout a dessert.
Apple pie, of course.
Apple, of course. Apple pie, of course. Apple pie. That's a good one. Any other ones? I have to do my favorite. It's chocolate chip cookies. I'm a sucker for chocolate chip cookies.
Peach cobbler? Is there a thing?
Peach, I mean, sounds good. Peach cobbler. Another good hallmark of my family's is cheesecake. Love some New York style cheesecake, especially since my family's from New York. Any others? Any others? One more. We can get one more.
Chocolate mousse pie.
Chocolate mousse pie. Here we go. How do you spell mousse? Isn't it with 2 SCs?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I almost did the animal because I didn't remember how to spell it. All right, perfect. So now what should happen if my process works? If it doesn't, we'll have fun troubleshooting it together. Is it should basically create a whole menu of all the items that we just suggested in this HTML form control in decisions. So we can see it in a bolded list. Should say appetizers, some items, then it should say main course with some items in it, and then say dessert with the other items that we suggested in it. So let me make this big over the entire screen. And I wonder if I can change the text of this. Yeah, use form font. I want to make it white just so I can see the text better because it was a little hard to see the dark. All right, perfect. So now let's see if this works. Debug, close our eyes, cross your fingers. Hey, look at that. So it almost works. We have a little bit of an error, but looks like we have our Thanksgiving menu, right? We have our Thanksgiving menu title. We have our appetizers. We have our spam, spinach dip, and tomatoes. Some of the appetizers probably need some more work. Our main course, though, is pretty solid. We got turkey, we got ham, we got mac and cheese, green beans, all the fun stuff. And then obviously the dessert, which everyone looks forward to, the apple pie, the cookies, the cobbler, cheesecake, and the chocolate and mousse pie. So and then I can click done and execute it the other way. So in our form, I had like an extra space on that one. So we'd have to find out where that space is at. So I believe what happened is, haha. So since I had an extra blank line, Decisions automatically thought it reads it as a piece of text. So if I debug this again, I should have like several lines now because pressing enter means that it's a new item. So if you have a lot of blank spaces or some blank items in it, you'll have to make sure that you remove all of the empty text or empty lines and make sure that your cursor just stops right after the last item. So that when you debug, you'll see that now we have our appetizers and all that stuff. Another thing that I'm sure you guys have noticed is that for that form control, I believe I set it to display the text white and it did not. It did not. Yeah, it did not. And the reason is because the HTML text that I've provided it for the font style, I said I wanted it to be, it's going to be the default font style, which is just black. If I wanted to change that, I would have to use some attributes to change that, which I think it's, let's say HTML, I think it's like font color, HTML color tag. And I think it's like, there we go. So I'd have to use a style tag. If I wasn't using CSS or any of those things, what I'd have to do is you'd have to give it some attributes. So I'd say style equals quotations, color, and let's do, I think I said white, and then let's close that here. So now what should happen is for the Thanksgiving menu, that should now run in the color white. So let's see if it works. If it doesn't, there we go, look at that. And there you go. And you see that now it reads it where it wrote the text as white. So that's why I think it's really cool, the string builder Simpson decisions, is because it allows you to have more power over some of the design capabilities in the text that you write. And so you can display it in any way that you want by utilizing those settings here. And the cool thing about what I did with having 3 of the same subflows is now for the line items, if I want the text to be white for all the other ones, I can just copy this, go into this part here. I can say, hey, for this H3 tag, I want to add this style. For the pen HTML tag here, let's see, let's go to the line item. For the line item, I want to make sure that I have the style color white. And I believe that's the last one. Yep. And so now what should happen is all my text should be white. When I run this, let's see, there we go. And now all my text is white. Notice that to apply that change, I just applied it to one subflow and it propagated to all the other subflows because they're merely referencing the subflow that I just created. So that's a way that you can do that and change the styles of your text merges in the string builder. So any final comments or questions? All right, I don't see any more questions. So I will say have a very happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thanks, Jared.
Take care, bye.